Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle, and I'm joined by my co host, Michael Hall.
It's Dallas week.
Yes, it is, and we're also joined by a very special guest and part of the family, BK. How you doing, sir?
What's up, Kyle? Hey, thanks for the invite, guys. You
Yo,
guys have been killing it. I love your show. I hope you guys continue and be successful.
Uh,
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
and congratulations to you. BK and my sister are actually getting married on Friday, so special
Hey,
congratulations to you, BK.
Yeah.
congrats.
Thank you, bro. I
Congrats.
really appreciate it, man. I mean, I came here, 9 years ago, and you've been cool with me ever since. So I truly appreciate it, brother.
Yes, and BK, you are a Washington D.C. fan. Wizards, Nationals, Capitals, Washington football team, everything. Just like Hall and I, you're one and the same. The big controversy from the Washington game over the last weekend was the Ron Rivera fourth down call. BK, how did you feel about that?
Honestly, man, I'm all about winning, taking risks. Just go for it, man. At the end of the day, we're not going to win the Super Bowl. We're not one of the best teams in the league. So take risks, go for it, have some fun, see what you guys can do, and keep putting that mentality in your guys, and see what happens.
Yeah, I had a problem with it initially, right? Because I'm sitting here thinking, I even said it with the fourth quarter. Let's go down, let's score this touchdown, let's go to overtime, and let's win. It comes up, they score the touchdown. I'm sitting here thinking, oh, 2 point, why? And of course, because it didn't work. But I was frustrated, but then I realized, with the offense and how inconsistent it's been through 6 games, when you're on the 2 yard line, that's the best chance for you to score anyway. Are you really going to bank on the offense being able to drive 80 yards downfield, or your defense to stop the offense of the Giants enough time for you to win the football game? So I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I agree with Ron. What about you, Hall?
Literally the same exact feelings. When we scored that touchdown, obviously I was jumping up and down. First of all, I was psyched for Cam Sims because that's a dude that's been flashing in
Yep.
preseason for the last couple of years. Gets on the field off and on, mostly special teams, but he'll make a kind of jump to like a special catch here and there. But
Yeah.
psyched that he got his first touchdown, so congrats to him. But no, I was the same feeling. I was just like, we had the momentum going our way. The defense had actually kind of had a little couple stops. They were getting pressure on Daniel Jones the last like drive or two. Like I just said, we had the momentum going our way. So I was kind of like, all right, let's go to overtime.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get the ball first. We can just take it down the field. The Giants defense looks like it's kind of tired out. Hopefully we can punch it in. But same thing. After I kind of sat down, calmed down a little bit, watched the 4 o'clock game, started thinking about it a little bit more. I realized same thing like just BK just said. You know what? He's trying to instill a winning culture. 2 yard line. You're saying like you just said also, Kyle. Like that's the best chance you're gonna have to score anyway, as opposed to maybe winning a coin flip and maybe driving down the field 75, 80 yards to get a touchdown. So I thought about it and sat back and I was like, you know what? I can't be mad at that. The only thing I can be mad at is the horrible play call. So that's all I was. Yeah.
Yeah, the play call, I'm not sure. I can't go against it, because Ron said himself that he was confident in the play call that they had there, and I'm gonna go with that. But the 20-19 loss, and everyone's pointing to the 0-5 Giants. I think the Giants are terrible offensively, but defensively they're actually a pretty good unit. And they could be beat, but the problem was that the Washington football team just could not stop shooting themselves in the foot. And this was a huge issue in this game, and it's been a kind of a reoccurring and consistent thing with the Washington football team through the first 6 games. BK, what's if you could point to one reaction, what was your reaction to the game?
I mean, like you said, man. I mean, the offense is going to be the offense. We struggle there, but coming into this season, it's all been the hype is around the defense. And like you said, we shot ourselves in the foot. We allowed Daniel Jones to get that ridiculously long run, which it just fat. I can't even believe it. I mean, we have some of the best. We have one of the best D lines in the league. We have Landon Collins at safety, and we let this guy just run 40 yards on us. It's just I don't understand it.
It's just one of those things, BK, and it sucks because we watched Daniel Jones out sprint everybody. And
Yeah, that's crazy.
early on in that game, Hall was talking about Landon, Talk about Landon, BK. I mean, not BK. Sorry, Hall.
Man, I mean, I don't know. I expected him to come in this Jack Del Rio defense. I thought he was going to flourish in it.
Right.
I thought he would kind of get back to, and even if he didn't get back to his All-Pro year that he had with the New York Giants, somewhere hovered around that top-tier safety in the league area. And he's been like literally the complete opposite of that. He's been one of the worst safeties in the league. I do give him credit. He's had a couple plays here and there. He's played the run here and there pretty well. Actually, not even pretty well. Like here, like literally spotty. But for him to miss so many tackles when you're supposed to be kind of like that's supposed to be your specialty. You're supposed to be a big physical safety. You're supposed to be a tackling machine. For you to be missing this many tackles, for you to be getting burnt on deep balls, when I know coverage is not really your forte, you're not really that kind of like a fast safety where you can kind of close in on the speedy receivers going deep. But again, don't let people beat you deep. We're giving up the most 40 plus, 50 plus yard plays in the NFL, which I think we have given up like 8 or 9, maybe even more after this game that just passed. But yeah, overall, my reaction was the defense did enough once again, but just like somehow, some way, it's never a complete game. Turnovers killed us on the offense, and even though we're in position to win the game at the end, without those 2 turnovers, it's not really a blowout, but it's a one-sided game in my opinion.
Yeah, because look, the Washington football team, I thought, controlled this game for the most part. The time of possession right now is ridiculous. Washington football team 33 minutes and 30 seconds to the New York Giants with 26 minutes and 30 seconds. So look, they beat them by 7 minutes. They're holding them. And then the passing yards, only 108 passing yards for the New York Giants on Sunday. And then running the football, they only had, let's see here, 132 rushing yards in total. You take away that 49-yard run from Daniel Jones, and as a team, they're held with under 100 yards. And it's just these ridiculous long plays that they're giving up. And it's funny because you saw in the actual live game footage, they talked about how Washington has been one of the worst teams against the pass in the long, big, explosive plays. The very next play, they give up a huge run. What can they do to fix that, BK?
I mean, I'm not like you guys. I don't have great football knowledge, but like, it's all about how do I explain this? It's like, I don't know. To me, it's all how like understanding the plays and stuff like that. And how do I say this? It's in my head. I just can't explain it. But to me, it's just they just have to keep practicing and just understanding how to read what the offense is going to play and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But defensively, like you said, I mean, Kendall Fuller's a bright spot. I mean, he's played 4 games for us. He leads the league in interceptions. Our defensive front, we got to keep getting pressure to the quarterback to allow our corners less time in coverage. And I feel like if we get pressure to the quarterback a lot more, we can get more interceptions and more stops and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Only 1 sack on the day for the Washington football team against Daniel Jones, and that was Ryan Kerrigan early on. And then it was essentially he was not used very much, taken almost out of the game. I don't think that the only way that we can go after the defense, in my opinion, is the third down conversions. They can't seem to stop the running game enough to make it long down in distances. You know, they are very good against the run. They've done a very good job. They have Jonathan Allen, who's rated by Pro Football Focus as one of the best run stuffers in the NFL. But it's just they don't stop the run enough to make it a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. It's almost just every time it's a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2. And it's easy for the offense to pick up that 3rd down, and it bleeds the clock. You saw that in the 3rd quarter. The Giants literally dominated that 3rd quarter with 1 drive. Took away all the time. And I know that everyone wants to point to them only putting up 19 points against the Giants defense, but that whole 3rd quarter was gone. Just completely wiped out. They had to do what they had to do in the 4th quarter, and that's what I was encouraged by. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, no, you just made one of my points. I was going to go back to the time of possession thing where you just mentioned they had the ball for literally 7/8 of the 3rd quarter. I think it was a 12 or 13-minute drive. So if you want to even compare that to the time of possession, if we had the ball once even.
Lake Lewis is here, BK. All right, I'm going to text you a question, all right, brother, for you to ask. I'll let you know when to.
Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are the Burgundy Zone podcast, and we are brought to you And we are joined by Lake Lewis, owner of the Sports Journey. Thank you so much for joining us again, Lake.
Hey, I apologize, guys. I had to go out to Ryan Kerrigan's celebrity golf thing for leukemia. So, I'm just getting back in. My team actually won. So
there you go.
Hey,
right. What can I say?
Hey, there you go. We need to bring Lake out golfing with us, Mike. That's what I just heard.
Oh, well, I mean, my team carried me. I was the celebrity for four other gentlemen who were, I wasn't really a celebrity, but anyway, I played with them. We won, got some nice little, some crystal glasses. So yeah, that was cool.
Absolutely. So Lake, I'm glad that you had a good day because it was necessary after that loss to the New York Giants, 20-19. And the hot topic, Lake, is that fourth down, the extra point, 2-point conversion that Ron Rivera went to go for. What is your opinion there? Do you think that he should have went for the extra point going to overtime, or do you believe in his foundational viewpoint of it on trying to make sure that's a fundamental winning aspect?
Personally, I've said this. I tweeted it out. I would have kicked the extra point, taken it to overtime. They weren't guaranteed to take it into overtime had they kicked the extra point.
Correct.
Or even if they made the 2-point conversion, because there was still almost 30 seconds left. Yeah. We've seen crazier things happen in the NFL. But nevertheless, I just thought that they outplayed the Giants in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter. They played with a lot more urgency. I thought the offense had found a little bit of a rhythm. So I think I would have tried to just take it to overtime and take my chances. The defense was playing better as well. It just seemed like everything was starting to click. And, I understand his reasoning, though. They were on the road. You're trying to play to win, not tie, not, see if you can hang on. But still, I think I would have just tried to take it to overtime myself.
And Lake, it seems like around the fan base, if you're on social media, if you follow, it's doom and gloom. It was a bad Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. What is your overall reaction from that game? Were you encouraged by, like you said, in the fourth quarter by the end of that game, or do you believe that this team is incredibly bad and they won't possibly win another game?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think this team's bad. I do. I think they've got some centerpieces they can build around. Terry McLaurin obviously got the jersey in the back. Chase Young. You can build around those two guys. You have two foundational pieces on both the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. I'm not sure if Gibson's going to be your long-term solution at running back. And that's not knocking his game because he runs hard. But, they're having issues at wide receiver, and that was his strength in college, wide receiver. My thing is, why not just put him opposite Terry McLaurin and then, as your running back, put J.D. McKissick back there and see if that opens up the offense even more. But, hey, I'm just a media person. I'm not a coach.
So question for you, Lake. So do you think the team will trade before the deadline, and who could be dealt?
The only guy that obviously I think everybody anticipates something happening is Dwayne Haskins. Yeah. The problem is, and this is one of the issues I've had, and you guys know I try not to be negative. I try to be as positive and upbeat as possible. But I don't like the way they handled the Haskins situation. Not because they benched him, because he wasn't playing great football. But I don't think I've seen anything with my own eyes to lead me to believe that the offense is night and day difference with Scott Allen quarterbacking or Alex Smith. They still have the same issues. They can't convert third downs. They can't run the football. The offensive line can't pass block. And they have a low amount of receivers that can make plays. So, again, does that fall back on the quarterback at all times? Not necessarily. But with all that being said, the problem I have with if you want to trade Dwayne Haskins, you've devalued him to the point where you're not going to get anything for him. And teams know now he's not in your long-term plans, regardless of what Ron Rivera says. You don't demote a guy that's in your plans to third string, because that means he's not getting any reps in practice either. He's on the scout team in practice. So that would be the only player I think realistically, as far as a name player that everyone knows about, that would be on the trading block. It's just interesting to see if any team out there thinks it's worth taking a chance on a young, unproven guy with a lot of potential.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely,
right.
and that's a really good question. Like now, you had already alluded to Kyle Allen and the game on Sunday. Did his play give you any confidence at the end of the game, or were the injuries just too much to overcome?
I mean, he did some things that, I can't say he didn't do anything. I mean, he
Right.
did some things well. I mean, he showed a lot of mobility out the pocket. The irony is the play where you needed him to show that mobility, he decided to pull up and not run.
Right.
And I thought he had a shot. I mean, he probably would have taken a shot too. But see, that goes back to last week's game against the Rams where he ran at the end of the first, I think first half and got knocked out. And the coaching staff were upset with him for doing that. They were like it was an unnecessary play to run on. So that kind of stuff stays in guys' heads. When he had the opportunity to run to try, to take a lead in this game on the 2-point conversion, you could see that in a split second, it was like, nope, let me not do that. And then when he pulled up, there was nothing there. I mean, the play was over at that point.
Right.
So it's just little things like that. But I will say he did do some things well. He showed that he's a gamer. I like that. But I go back to Dwayne Haskins. I'm not a big Dwayne Haskins guy, but I will say he showed fight, and he showed that later in games he was starting to figure some things out. I just wish they gave him a little bit more time because this is the year. If you want to get that superstar quarterback in the making, there's 2 or 3 of them coming out this year, and you don't want to miss out on one of those guys. My thing is you need to find out if you have your quarterback in the building long term, and I can honestly tell you, I don't think they do.
Right. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I was actually one of the proponents of just letting Dwayne Haskins play all season, and
Yeah,
you either let you see what you got, where hey, he is the guy, we can build around him and go forward, or you end up with a top 5 pick anyway, and you're shipping him out or bringing another guy in regardless. But flipping to the other side of the ball, I think the defense played actually pretty well enough to win the game, or did enough for the team to get a win.
sure.
Montez Sweat was having a pretty good first 6 weeks of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Kendall Fuller definitely is. Chase Young. Has there been a standout that you've spotted on the defense for these first couple of weeks?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I see the potential in John Allen. I see the potential in Deron Payne because at times they look really good, but then there's times where they disappear.
Yeah.
And those are first round draft picks, and first round draft picks are supposed to be impact players from day one.
Yeah.
They've got 4 of them on that front 4, and to my money, I've seen Chase Young. I've also seen that since he was injured, he hasn't necessarily performed at the same level, and that's to be expected. Anytime you have to depend on a rookie to carry you, that's a problem.
Mm.
So I need to see these other guys that were high draft picks perform better. Landon Collins, first round draft pick back in the day, for the Giants. I need him to play better. So again, I did see a little bit improvement, the safety position. I thought DeShazier Everett played pretty decent, much better. That was probably the best game of the year for a free safety for Washington. So that's a good sign. But, again, I don't think the defense has played up to what they're capable of playing up, and they're going to need to over the next few games. And it's crazy to think that this game on Sundays for first place.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy.
it's unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, if you're Washington, you still do feel like you have a chance. I just hate a team that's 1-5 thinking that means much.
Right.
I mean, the goal is to win every game.
Right.
But you got a lot of guys on this team you've got to develop, and not just for this year. They've got to get better for years and years to come. So, don't sacrifice being in a horrible division and trying to steal it for the sake of getting, the chance to go to Seattle and just get destroyed, or you don't want that. You again, you want to win every game. So if that means that they're, 5-11, 6-10, and it wins division, so be it. But I don't know. I've said all along the NFL should not allow for a team that wins their division with a losing record, let alone make the playoffs. If they're going to let them make the playoffs, they should not be allowed to have a home divisional or a wild card game. They should not be able to play that wild card game at home with a losing record. They should have to travel.
Right.
Now, another person that was supposed to come back on Sunday, Sadiq Charles. I personally was expecting a bounce back game from the rushing attack. I thought they were going to be able to rush for over 100 yards. Sadiq Charles dislocates his kneecap on the second play of the game in such an awkward play. Do you expect to see Sadiq Charles back after the bye week, and do you think that he's going to start as soon as he comes back?
I don't actually. I mean, that's a big man to have that type of injury, and he was already having, I guess, a quad injury he was working his way back from. So, he's a guy that I don't want to say maybe you shut him down, but he's almost like a draft pick that you get next year, and then you bring him back with a full training camp, full OTAs, mini camp, and then work him in then, and just kind of look at a rookie year next year. Because this year it just seems like it's not going to happen for whatever reason. If he can get up to par and be 100% at some point this year, maybe last 2-3 games, you put him out there if you see what you want. But those type of injuries are problematic for big men like that.
Yeah. So, Lake, me personally, after I watched that game on Sunday against the Giants, I was like most. I was sitting here thinking, man, dude, they can't beat many. But then Monday night comes around, and I see how the Cowboys play, and I saw a lot of similarities with how the Washington played Arizona, with how the Cowboys played. So it made me start to think, man, they might have a chance this weekend against the Cowboys. What's your confidence level with this team heading against Dallas?
I agree with you, Kyle. Listen, man, let me tell you, before the game yesterday, I literally thought to myself that there was no way that they were going to beat the Cowboys, even with Andy Dalton. But what I saw last night, I mean, the Cowboys stunk the joint up, and they quit. They looked like they literally quit on the field, which doesn't surprise me. But at the end of the day, not only does Washington have a chance to win on Sunday, I didn't think they would be favored in any game ever going forward. They might even be favored come Sunday.
You're absolutely
surprisingly right.
That's crazy.
You're absolutely right. Like absolutely right. Now, heading into this game against the Cowboys, if you could point to one position in particular that has to play better in order for them to win against the Cowboys, what position would that be?
Defensive line. I mean, they've got to put pressure on the quarterback. Fortunately for them, they don't have to go up against a Dak Prescott who has just killed this team the past few years because he can make plays with his legs and extend plays. Andy Dalton is a statuesque quarterback. He's going to stay in the pocket. He's not going to move around much. So these are the games where you need that front seven as a whole to really wreak havoc on Dallas. Fortunately for Washington, they've done a pretty good job, with bottling up Zeke Elliott. Surprisingly, over the years, they've actually done one of the better jobs against him.
Yep.
So hopefully they can sustain that, but also get a pass rush, and that'll negate anything Andy Dalton can do because Dallas still does have three of the premier receivers, perhaps one of the top 2 or 3 position groups in football at that position.
Yeah. Going back a little bit, you mentioned Antonio Gibson earlier. He might not be the future, but maybe you should split him out to wide receiver. As horrid as this Dallas defense is, will this finally be the week where we can see Antonio Gibson maybe unleashed a little bit more?
I mean, I think they've been trying to unleash him. It's just, again, I hate to sound like I'm being negative, but the play calling has been bad.
I agree.
I'm sorry, man. I mean, Scott Turner. Everyone talks about Haskins and Scott Allen. Scott Turner, this will be his 6th game as an offensive coordinator. Dwayne Haskins has more starts than Scott Allen has games coached as offensive coordinator. So he needs to take some bullets too, for some of these play calls. They don't throw the ball down the field. When you don't throw the ball down the field, safeties come up in the box and they take away your running game. And hence, that's why we can't see Antonio Gibson get off because teams are like, we're going to double team Terry McLaurin and pack the box. Now what? Who else you got? Yeah. And they haven't shown any creativity. It's slant patterns. Everyone knows what they're doing. Bubble screens. If it's not 5 or 10 yards, you're not seeing anything else. They have to be more creative because Dallas's defense is pretty bad.
I agree. And that's been my biggest knock where it's like, even if you don't have the weapons to stretch the field and go downfield, at least present it like you are. At least
Yeah, yeah.
hold up and get a pass interference for once or twice. It's kind of
Right.
like do something to kind of stretch the defense out so that, like you said, Antonio Gibson can kind of shake loose and maybe bust a big play here and there. But I agree. I think that Scott Turner definitely has to take some of the flack on this, some of the bullets, because this play calling has been, in my opinion, kind of average or below average. So,
Yeah, it's been suspect to say the least.
man,
I've said it. I've said it all along, and I like Ron Rivera quite a bit. I give him a lot of credit, and I think he is the right guy for the job. But everybody errs. Everybody makes mistakes. You make mistakes. I make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
He's making mistakes, and I think the first big mistake Ron Rivera made, to me personally, was when they didn't retain Kevin O'Connell as the offensive coordinator. It was sitting there to be had. You could have done that. Should have kept AP. Let's call it like it is. Uh, you know, I think a lot's being thrown on Gibson all at once,
yeah.
and again, you're kind of forcing him to play a position that he's learning as he goes along. But he's doing this with not the best offensive line and in the NFL. So just a totally different game speed. Quality of players he's going against is different from when he was at Memphis. So again, I look at it like with his speed and his, creativity and durability, all the things that he can do, versatility, all the abilities, so to speak, why not put him at wide receiver and put him opposite Terry, and then you can find somebody else in the backfield. I mean, hopefully Bryce Love it will get better and they can give him a look too. And you can try out JD McKissick. I think McKissick is shifty enough that I've seen a lot of things from him that they might be able to do this, and it'll open up the offense even more because they don't have any downfield threat. Terry doesn't even get utilized to go down the field. They're running him on slant patterns, and I just wish they gave that kid a little bit more help because I would hate to see these first 2-3 years of his career just wasted because he doesn't have an opposite person on the other side.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, after watching the game, who do you believe was the MVP of that game?
Of Washington's game?
Yeah, Washington game. Sorry.
It's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one.
look at Lake's face. He's like, shoot.
Man, I mean, that's wow. I'm probably gonna go Terry McLaurin. I mean,
yeah. Most weeks he is.
What, 7 catches, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 7 catches, so 74 yards.
Yeah, I would go Terry because teams are double teaming him, man, and he's still getting balls, and he's catching balls from 3 different quarterbacks, So, and that's over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Now,
so yeah, I would go Terry for sure.
So Lake, there has been a lot of talk on social media, a lot of, I feel, is misdirected anger, just displacement about the entire season so far on Ron Rivera. And it's kind of being pushed onto him, the whole issues with everything, where I think you're right. A lot of it has to do with Scott Turner and the way that he is running this offense, because I think some things are being covered a little bit. But do you think that the fan base has a point to this? Or do you sitting here saying, why are you guys going after this man, asking for him to be fired after week 6?
I mean, listen, and I love the fans. I do. The fan base here has got me where I am.
Right.
In my career and life. So I have nothing but respect. But I also know that there's 2 types of fan bases for this franchise. It's the older fan base that are, I don't want to date myself, but if you're 40 plus, you remember the good old days. You remember the heyday. You really remember that more so than the losing, ironically. But if you're under 40, you don't know this team to ever have been any good. And you're sick of hearing from old timers like myself talking about them. So you have the younger fan base that, I will say with all respect, that's the fan base that's going to carry this franchise. Those are the ones that are going to be the ultimate season ticket holders that are going to pass down generational stuff to their kids. So I think this team, and I've said this for a couple of years, the nostalgia, pushing the old nostalgia that I remember, they need to get rid of that. They need to stop doing that because that's just so long ago. Yeah. Nobody wants to hear about what they did in 1980s, 82, right. 83, 1991. I mean, that's so long ago. Half the fan base wasn't born. Right. So again, again, it's time to start creating new memories and, winning with what you have. So that's why this fan base is so torn and upset. And I do think that Ron Rivera, in not realizing it, but he has sent some mixed signals, and those mixed signals will get snuffed out. And I said this a couple of weeks ago. No offense to Carolina, my family's from there, but this isn't Carolina. This is Washington. This is a storied franchise, regardless if they haven't looked like it over the past 2 decades. It's still one of the oldest franchises. This fan base knows their football, and they know when they're being sold some nonsense. Mm-hmm. And this was supposed to be a developmental year for a lot of young players. And fans got to a point they were told that so much by Ron Rivera and us in the media that they accepted their fate. They accepted if this team wins 2 games, 3 games, all they want to see is development from young guys and then being competitive on Sundays. Not necessarily winning, but at least making games interesting into the fourth quarter. Well, when you sit your quarterback after 4 games and you make some other moves, it looks as if you sent some mixed signals. There's no way to get around it. And that's where I think fans are like right now, they're kind of backing off the Ron Rivera train a little bit. Yeah. It's kind of like a wait and see what he can do. But you guys know, just like I do, they go out and win Sunday. They win the following week against the Giants. All's for naught. Everybody's going to start saying they actually might win the division. Yeah. And then Ron Rivera is the best thing since sliced bread again.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly you're absolutely.
It's a bandwagon town. It's a bandwagon town.
You are so right about that. Now to wrap this up, Lake, I got one more question for you. Kyle Allen, the quarterback, do you believe that he will finish the season outright? And if not, if we would see another quarterback, do you think it would be Dwayne Haskins or Alex Smith?
I think we're going to see Alex Smith finish the year out. When Alex Smith was moved up to number 2, the writing was on the wall for what they wanted. And, they ultimately feel like right now they know they're buying time and they're still in this thing. How big of a story would it be? And Washington loves these type of things.
Oh, no.
How big of a story would it be for Alex Smith maybe 2 weeks from now to get the nod and they win 4 in a row and win the division or something? Yeah. We still better draft a quarterback.
that would be the most Washington story there is. So I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, they've already got some tape reels for that one. Trust me.
People forget that we were 6-3 before he got hurt. And who knows?
I mean, different talent on that team. Much different talent.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, guys. This will be they're 1-5. 10 games left. Let's just say they split those games. I think most people would sign up for them going 5-5 down the stretch with the schedule that they have coming up.
Yes, sir.
So if they went 5-5, they're going to be 6-10. That might win the division. That's absurd.
Yeah. Absurd, absolutely absurd. But look, that we called it the NFC least for a reason, right? Like.
Yeah.
Lake, I really do appreciate you taking the time. I know you're incredibly busy doing the Kerrigan leukemia tournament, and I really appreciate you taking the time out and blessing us again with some great knowledge.
Yes, I appreciate you guys having me on. Sorry I kept you waiting, but anytime you guys want me, just reach out.
Oh, absolutely, Lake. I appreciate you, sir. You have a great night.
Okay, take care,
guys. Have a good one. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
And we were able to talk to Lake Lewis again. Fantastic interview from him. That's a lot to digest.
Always dropping that fire.
Yes, he is. And I really enjoyed his opinions on a lot of things because he is a realist. He's sitting here telling you that he didn't like the Dwayne Haskins situation, but he understood that, Kyle Allen is essentially playing better. But because of the situation that they are as a team, he thought it'd be better to play Dwayne Haskins down the stretch. Now, let's debate this, guys. I talked about this on Twitter, and it really got me angry because, man, this fan base sometimes gets me. The way that they went after Ron Rivera after that game, as much as we are passionate fan base and we care a lot about this team winning and losing, obviously we're not going to be happy after a divisional loss and especially a close one. But it's like, dude, let Ron Rivera at least finish one season before you start calling for his job. You know, this isn't Jeff Fisher. This isn't Adam Gase. This is Ron Rivera. The guy he got cancer, dude. Give him the benefit of the doubt and some time. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, look, oh, my bad. 2018, like BK just said, delayed. We were 6-3, 6-4 after the Texas game, and we ended up 7-9 that year. So we were 7-win team 2 years ago. Obviously, last year was a disaster, 3 wins. So people are acting like this was like such a great team even to begin with. Like Ron Rivera coming in and we beat Philly week 1, so all of a sudden we're a top 10 team or top 15 team. We're going to make the playoffs and we're going to steal some games. Like no. This has always been a bad team that's in the middle of rebuilding / evaluating / trying to win games. And yeah, I don't think that Ron Rivera deserves to get killed for this. Obviously, this was such a bad team. Bruce Allen and Dan Snyder drove it into the ground. Yep. It's going to take more than 6 weeks to drive it back up. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life on Twitter earlier this week. Going for the man's job after 6 games. This craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. But, I mean, you have issues with upper management. You have issues which I don't like Scott Turner. I really don't. He needs to go, in my opinion. But you have issues over there. The man's fighting cancer. Let him finish out a season. Let him develop the players and go from there. He took Cam to the Super Bowl. Cam was the MVP. They've had great defenses over in Carolina. Let the man get some time and do his thing.
Yeah, absolutely, Agreed. BK. Absolutely. I wish it was that easy, BK, but it's simply just not. It's simply just not. That's
I know.
Look, that's the way it works. And like, I don't know how else to explain this. Like, the game was infuriating because you felt like they had control, but they were fighting to get back into it. It sucks because they shot themselves in the foot again, over and over again with Kyle Allen, which I will say right now, the dude is, you got to stop the turnovers, because if the turnovers continue to happen, this offense cannot sustain turnovers. They just cannot. The defense is great, but you've seen if the defense is put in a short yardage situation, they're going to give up points. It's a fact. It's just, they can't be on the field for that long. The offense needs to be able to stop the turning over the football. But I was encouraged with the way that fourth quarter went. The fact that they were able to get off the field on third down on defense, then the offense goes down the field and executes a great-looking scoring drive, probably one of the best scoring drives they've had all year. And that's just, okay, it's clicking. And then they lose based off of the 2-point conversion. It sucks. But I left that game encouraged. And then I leave, and then I go afterwards, and we're hearing that we want to fire Ron Rivera. And I'm sitting here, wait. I know that we lost. I know that it sucks, and it looks like 0-5. But you can see what Ron Rivera's mentality is being implemented. I was listening to Tay and Todd's podcast, and they brought up a really great point. They keep going for it on fourth down. They were 2 for 2 in this game. I think the best team on fourth down so far this season. Ron Rivera's already rubbing off on them. We're going for it. We're getting this fourth down. It is what it is. That's the kind of mindset that he's instilling, and that's what he was trying to do by going forward on with the 2-point conversion. He's trying to instill that in the team. Instead of saying, let's go to overtime, it's, no, let's win this. That's what he's trying to do. And I know that everyone's looking at like, why are all these stupid little tests and all this ever? That's what this is an evaluation here. This is his first year. He has to see who's going to stick around and who's not. It's completely plausible in my opinion. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, no, I agree. I was actually texting back and forth with Dan Long that used to work at GB Shades earlier today, and he was talking about like, oh, we got the talent to do it and blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, no, we don't. We have like a core of like 5, 10, maybe a little bit more than 10 players that are probably going to be around for the next couple of years. Obviously, maybe Antonio Gibson's, depending on if he can get acclimated to the NFL.
Right.
Obviously, Terry, the D-line. Might have to get let go one of the defensive linemen. I don't know, but one of the D linemen is going to be here. Sweat, Chase Young, Fuller. So we have Moreland. We have the young Cam Curl rookie who's going to develop, hopefully keep developing. So we have the young pieces. Holcomb, I want to mention him. But I was just like, outside of that, a lot of these players would not be starters or even like maybe even backups on most NFL teams. Like we just think that, or maybe you just think that they're talented because there's been such little talent in Washington for the past couple of years. So like these players are like, oh, this is the best we had in years. Well, yeah, so it might be true, but it's not the best on other teams that have had currently or over the past couple of years. So again, if you even go back to what Ron Rivera did in 2011, he took the job, got Cam, and it took them for 3, 4, 5 years to actually build momentum, turn it around. Bam, you're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So for people to want to fire him after 6 games, at least give him like 2, 3, 4 years into his 5-year contract. And you want to fire him after 6 games? What sense does that make? Then you want to be paying a coach all this extra money, and then
I'll tell you
a bad precedent for coach. Who else would want to take this job if they fired Ron Rivera 6 games in? Come on.
I'll tell you what, though. If this was Mike McCarthy, I would be saying, yeah, let's get rid of his butt after 5
Oh, of course.
after 6 games.
Of course.
But Ron Rivera, no, man.
I mean, look, if Aaron Rodgers –
Go.
if someone like Aaron Rodgers calls you out and has clout like that and says, like, nah, it's not me, it's him, then it's probably him, and we're seeing that in Dallas. So that's all. Look, again, everyone calm down. 2021, 2022, hopefully we'll be contending in, like, divisions and playoffs and all that other stuff, but it's 6 games, people. Calm down.
All right, so BK, last week we started a new segment on this podcast. Every time that we lose, we are going to have a blanket party. I'm not sure if you listened to last podcast, but what it is in the military,
Not yet.
in the military, what happens is if a guy is like, if he's getting the other guys in trouble by not doing things in an orderly done, like they're getting, they're getting punished for things that he's doing. What'll happen is bunkmates will come over, zip tie his sleeping bag, and then beat him. Just a retribution. So it's called a blanket party. So this is the blanket party part 2. Who would you be your player that you would say needs the blanket party for this week, Mike?
Man, you know what? I'm not gonna just give it to one. I'm gonna give it to the whole group. I'm gonna go with the D-line because yes, they did play the run fairly well. They held Devontae Freeman fairly in check. Outside of that long run from Daniel Jones, they were pretty good in the run game. But with that pretty horrid offensive line, you would have expected to get a lot more pressure on Daniel Jones. I know they only got the 1 sack, and the Chase Young got the pressure, which caused the pick. Outside of that, I did not see him really getting pressured. I didn't see him really getting hit. I didn't see him on the ground a lot. His jersey looked pretty clean by the end of the game. So I'm going to give a blanket party to the D-line because I expect a lot more out of all those first-round picks, as Blake alluded to.
You in what army, dude? There's some big dudes. No, but my blanket party, it sucks. I might actually put this guy in the hospital if we do it. But Dustin Hopkins missing the field goal early on in that game. Look, the Washington football team, every opening drive this season has basically been like a 3-and-out, right? Every single time we've seen it. And then the other team gets the ball to receive in the second half. But they never generate points off the first drive. And they had a chance to do it against the Giants, who were struggling. Give them a kind of, because all season long, it's felt like they've been trailing and fighting back in these games. Like, getting that field goal, I felt was huge for that moment because it meant that they had a lead. They could play with one, and they could play that way because they haven't done it all season long. Dustin Hopkins misses another field goal. He has been, I think he's missed like a field goal in the past like 4 or 5 games or something like that. It has been horrid. He's getting my blanket party personally. He's got to get better because you saw it's a difference in the game. They lost by a point and he missed a field goal, and that was the difference in my opinion. What about you, BK? Who's getting BK's blanket party?
Well, Kyle, you took mine, so like
you can.
said,
that's fine. No, you can continue with it.
I was going to say, like you said, I mean, that was if he had made that field goal at the opening drive, no 2-point conversion talk, none of that. Walk off the field, 22-19, end of game. However, I'll pick another one. I will go with Landon Collins just because we have such high expectations. What is he making? $80 million for over 5 years or something like that? I mean, he killed it with the Giants. I mean, he was a Pro Bowler. I mean, I think he was All-Pro that year too as well. He comes down here. Last year, okay, he was somewhat all right. This year, he's supposed to be leading an example for the secondary, and he's getting burnt by Daniel Jones. He's getting burnt by receivers. He's not playing well, and I feel like if his game starts playing well, Jimmy Moreland's game will start playing well. The rookie Curl's game, he'll develop better, and maybe the secondary will get better and not keep getting burnt by these receivers.
Yeah. Look, that Darius Slayton is a good wide receiver, but you're absolutely right. Fabian Moreau got burnt on that touchdown throw. Look, they're professionals. They make stuff happen. Stuff does go down. But the fact is, this Giants team has been historically bad offensively. They should not have been giving up those points. But the defense only essentially gave up 10 points. The 2 turnovers led to the other 10 points, you could say, with the fumble return for a touchdown. The interception led to the Giants field goal. It's unfortunate. But hey, let's get past the negative point. I think that we should give out game beers for this game in particular. I thought the team, they did play well enough to win. It's just a couple of turnovers by the quarterback and the kicker kind of ruined everything. So, Hall, who would you give a game beer to?
I'll go Ryan Kerrigan. He did get a sack earlier on in the game. Caused some pressure. I know he only played maybe 10, maybe even less than that snaps. But, I mean, hey, you got to get in where you fit in. And he got in. He did his thing on the couple snaps that he got, and he got a sack. So I'll give him a game beer, adding to the total of his career leading sacks for the franchise.
Yes, and what this segment is, BK, is what we're doing. We are rewarding a player a game beer so they can go home, they can sit back and relax because they earned themselves a chance to relax and enjoy a beer. What player would that be for you?
Honestly, I would go with Kyle Allen, and hear me out.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
He threw the ball 42 times, 31 for 42, 280 yards. He had that one pick. He had 2 touchdowns. He had a 71 QBR and a 97.3 rating. That's not bad. That's actually really good.
It is.
So, and he took us out in the fourth quarter, the last drive, drove us all the way down, brought us back into the game, and obviously we couldn't make it 2, but he's still, in my opinion, he deserves a game beer.
Yeah, and my game beer, it goes to Kendall Fuller. Continuing to make plays. It's almost like it's just instilled. It's like this was written in stone that Kendall Fuller would be born playing the NFL and he would play well as a Washington football team member. Every time he steps on the field, the guy is making a play. I know it's a controversial play because I was kind of wondering the same thing. You could tell Dean Blandino was begging for that to be out of bounds. He wanted to be able to say that wasn't a pick. But I think it's Kendall.
I thought he juggled it.
Yeah, but Kendall keeps balling, dude. He's showed that he is the best player in that secondary right now. So happy that we were able to retain him. It sucks to see him go and play with Kansas City. And then he was also used in the safety spot on the game on Sunday too. So he did a very good job there. Now let's wrap up this episode, guys. Let's just talk about a couple of the surprises around the NFL for you over the weekend, Hall.
Man, big surprise over the weekend. I'll go with, it's a hard one. I'll go with Dallas getting beat so bad, honestly. I thought that with Dak going down, they'd finally get back to what they did in 2016, which was run the ball out with Ezekiel Elliott, control the clock, keep the defense off the field, and then hit the big plays when you got them, especially when you got 3 receivers that are pretty elite wide receivers. I'm not going to put Gallup as elite, but I'm not even going to put Amari as elite, but pretty good receiver. You got better than average receivers, and CeeDee Lamb is becoming elite. And, yeah, I thought that they would get back to that, and they just came out and got mollywopped by the Cardinals. They didn't. They tried to run the ball with Zeke, but he fumbled twice. And, yeah, they are who we thought they were, which is a bad team just like us.
Yeah, my biggest surprise over the weekend from the NFL, the Green Bay Packers getting steamrolled by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That 38-10, I was not expecting that. I'm happy because I was going against a guy who had Aaron Rodgers, watching him throw those 2 easy picks, and then it was such a weird game to see that happen. I was not expecting that. I thought it was going to be flip-flopped. I was not expecting that at all. I thought that was the biggest surprise of the weekend by far. What about you, BK? What was your biggest surprise from the NFL over the weekend?
So the Titans offense. I think I saw one of the craziest stat lines of all time. So not only did they have 338 passing yards, they had 263 rushing yards for almost 600 yards on offense.
Yeah.
And the Houston Texans, I'm not saying they're a great defensive team, but they're all professionals. And they're in the NFL for a reason until not almost 600 yards.
Right.
It's absolutely nuts.
It's almost like they're the Cowboys.
Yeah. But, I mean, Derrick Henry, I'm not going to sit here and say he's the best running back in the game, but he he's right there with them. And I mean, he's just the end of the game, wild card. He gets the ball, it's going to him. He walks right into the end zone. It just baffles me how you. I mean, obviously you just can't go stop him, but
Yeah.
you know what's coming. He just walked right into the end zone. So congratulations to the Titans.
Yeah, look, Derrick Henry, like if you guys can remember Brandon Jacobs to the Giants, imagine giving Brandon Jacobs and putting him on the Pittsburgh Steelers while they were in their prime on offensive line. That's what essentially is happening down there. They have great run blockers and a gigantic man that can run a 4.5. It is ridiculous seeing that dude run past people and run away from people. It's like you shouldn't be that big, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's almost like they were waiting for the ground to start shaking when he's running. You're just like, oh, it's the earthquake. What's going on?
It doesn't make sense.
Man, it's crazy. And like you said, he outruns people. Not even like he'll break a run and be like, oh, he's gonna get caught. You look back and there's someone that's like 3 yards behind him. You're just like, how is this even physically possible?
Yeah. And then I'm not sure if anyone did. Did anyone talk about the Cowboys losing? Did you talk about that? Was that your surprise?
Yeah, that was me. How bad they are.
Yeah.
But I will say another surprise is not the Giants, the Chicago Bears.
Oh, I was gonna say the Eagles coming back against against the Ravens. They actually made it a game.
Yeah, they did. But now Chicago Bears are 5-1. Was not expecting that.
No.
I mean, Nick Foles has come in and he's not played very good. He's played pretty average, but that defense has been stepping up and they're just finding ways to win ugly. I mean, it's not been the best wins on offensive putouts. Defense, like I said, is solid doing their thing, but they're just finding ways to win. And if you can win ugly, that bodes well for going forward because once you start clicking all cylinders, it's going to be hard to stop you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what shows me hope for next week is that I saw a stat that said that Dallas allows 36 points per game.
Yep.
In the past 6 games. I mean, I'm not saying our offense is all that, but I mean, we could probably drive on that team a couple drives and hopefully we can score 25, 30 points on them. The only thing that scares me is that they do have that elite receiving core and they do have Elliott. So hopefully our defensive line next week can step up. And I feel like if we stop Zeke, we stop the pass.
Yeah, and I'm hoping our D-line gets back to getting pressure on the quarterback. This O-line is kind of similar to the Phillies offensive line. Everyone's banged up. They got a bunch of backups in there. They got a couple rookies starting at left and right tackle. So Chase Young and Montez Sweat, this is your week to eat. Please do it.
Is Tyron Smith out for a while, or is he coming back next week?
It looks like
he's on IR.
Yeah, it looks like
Oh,
he's
he
out.
is?
And
Oh,
then
wow.
Zach Martin, I believe, had a concussion last night, so they're waiting on his diagnosis to see if he's going to be able to play on Sunday. So that offensive line is going to be beat up. But look, in my opinion, regardless, this offense has shown in the previous weeks. Look, we're going to talk about Thursday. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But basically, guys, the way that I'm thinking about this Washington football team, we're going to end it off here. I was encouraged by the end of the game. And I understand that you guys are sitting here saying they're encouraged for what? We're not building towards it. I'm just saying as in, like, if you look at the team as an organism, as them learning how to win, because right now, all they know how to do is learn how to lose. All they know how to do is lose. They don't know how to win yet. And what I saw on Sunday was them doing that first step to learning how to win. They're almost there. They're sniffing very close, but I was encouraged by that. And that's where I stand. I don't think that we should talk about the QB controversy anymore. I think it is what it is, man. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
All right, BK. Well, BK, I can't thank you enough for coming on, sir, and sticking around and being able to ask a couple questions. BK,
yes,
by the way, that question I told you to ask Lake, I meant for like an MVP of the game this weekend.
Oh, my bad. Okay. My fault. That's my fault. But hey, Kyle, I really appreciate it, bro. I appreciate you letting me come on. Hopefully I can do this again. Nice seeing you all. Take it easy, guys.
Yeah, man. Nice to see you too, man. Congrats on the wedding as well.
It's just a little, it's a COVID wedding. That's what we'll call it.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, hopefully it's Dallas week. Let's get this W on Sunday.
Absolutely.
I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'll see you on Friday, sir, BK. Do you guys still need help moving on Saturday?
Hey, all the hands available, bro. If you can come,
all right,
I'll buy you a case of beer, bro. Both of y'all.
Right.
Come through.
All right, yeah, but Cracky's trying to play golf at like 1:40, and I was like, I'm not sure. I told my sister I'd help her move, so I got to see if they still need it. So
I know, man. You kind of blew me with that. I thought it was gonna be like early in the morning, and then you texted me the reservation. I was like, bruh.
Right now, and honestly, Kyle, we have a U-Haul, so that'll do most of it. But just getting stuff unloaded, anything helps. An hour, 2 hours, anything helps, bro.
Yeah, I'll come in the morning.
And thank you guys so much. You guys have been killing it recently. I love your show. Keep killing it, y'all. Take it easy.
I appreciate you, BK. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hall.
And we'll
I'm
see you
PJ.
guys on Thursday. Make sure you tune in. You're not going to want to miss it. I guarantee you. Make sure you go follow us on Facebook, iTunes Podcasts, on Spotify, Google Pods, YouTube, Facebook. You can find us on all of those places. Please go like and share us on there. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you on Thursday. Washington football. Woo!
Audio Jungle.